Well, this is really going to enlighten you because if you're anything like me, I used to want to go to them when I was a kid. I used to watch them on Discovery Channel, National Geographic, and I'd see them and I'd be like, oh wow, this place almost looks kind of like a zoo. There are a ton of rattlesnakes. You get to go and see them, close encounters, and so I used to want to go with them. And then I joined this group right up here, Rise Against Rattlesnake Roundups, whenever I was exposed to some of the video footage that they captured at these events. Whenever you go to the events, they definitely are not what you thought they were going to be about. And they tend to change the perceptions that a lot of people get about snakes whenever they go to them. We're going to address a lot of those topics, and I'm also going to try and refute a lot of the myths that they tend to tell you guys about snakes. This right here is the snake that they specifically round up. This is the western diamondback rattlesnake. This is a beautiful specimen that we have here in Texas. This is actually a West Texas locale, and you got to love the tortoise snakes. They're absolutely beautiful. So a little bit about me, I'm a biology teacher. I'm also a biology major from St. Houston State University. And I basically make my living as a teacher, but I also live in kind of this fantasy world that's my hobby of snake hunting. And what I like to do is just go around, film snakes, capture them and photograph them. Not much of a snake keeper, but I do love capturing and filming snakes. And you can see right here, this is me with a coral snake. And I know whenever you see that last bullet, never been bitten, you got to think, how is that possible? This guy's got a coral snake by his face. He seems reckless. But actually, it's just snakes. For some reason, they love my hat. I don't know why. So whenever they tend to be on a stick, they'll go and just float right over to it. Some people say it's because of the dark color. It makes them feel safe inside of the shadow shade of a dark color. But for some reason, they always like to go over to it. You guys are more than welcome to go onto YouTube, type in my name. It's right there on the business card. You can check out any of the videos that I have on Texas specimens. They're very educational, and some of them even show a lot of displays that snakes do. But we're here to talk about mainly the western diamondback rattlesnake and these roundups. At these roundups, you will typically go inside, you'll see this big area right here. This is called the pit. This is where anywhere between 1,000 and 5,000 rattlesnakes will be just thrown in there. At these festivals, you can see basically roughly around 50,000 people showing up at the biggest one, ours in here, Sweetwater, Texas. And they occur in over 6 states, but some of them are good. Some of them you can go to these events, they will capture small amounts of rattlesnakes, they will educate the public, they will pit tag radio telemetry devices inside of them, so that way they can monitor the snake's growth. They even do capture and recapture programs for the snakes, so that way they can monitor if they are survival rates of the snakes. And then you have one like these that are just strictly slaughter tests, and in some cases animal cruelty tests. To this day, over 300,000 pounds of rattlesnakes have been captured for these roundups. And you can see there's not very many babies, so typically they're roughly adults, anywhere from 3 to 10 pounds. Some of them can be bigger than that. So if you do the math, 3 to 10 pound rattlesnakes divided by 300,000 pounds, they have killed a ton of snakes at these roundups. And our main reason to ask is why? Why are you killing them? Is there a reason that we slaughter this many snakes? So these are the reasons that they give us right here. They say that the rattlesnakes are overpopulated. They also say that they do it because of science. This helps to save lives, and it helps to save livestock. They claim that their livestock is bitten, and they lose a lot of livestock due to this. They claim they also educate the public about rattlesnakes, and then they claim money as well. They're trying to push the money thing kind of under the rug. They're not very prominent about that one, but that's pretty much the main reason. And we're going to address each one of these and talk about one of these. The first one, of course, is overpopulation, and the sad thing is there's no data to support that. So it's like me telling you guys that I filmed every snake in the world, but I have no film, no footage, no data to make you guys believe them. And they're basically hoping everyone will believe them when they just state, yes, these snakes are overpopulated. They have no data to support this overpopulation whatsoever. And there's actually data to kind of throw that out the wall. Rattlesnakes collected have decreased over the years. So if you look recently at Sweetwater specifically, they went from offering $5 per pound for a rattlesnake all the way up to $10 per pound. They doubled their asking price. They doubled that for main reason to get more hunters out there and to increase the hunting pressure on these snakes because they were not getting enough snakes to make the festival what it used to be. Also, snakes are admittedly taken out of other areas. So if these rattlesnakes were overpopulated, how come we, the RARR group, has footage of Oklahoma roundups saying, yeah, that big rattlesnake over there, he came from Texas. So they're overpopulating your area, but you're driving out of state to go get rattlesnakes because you're not finding enough of them in your own area. Kind of funny. These gentlemen right here are JC, they're the people who run the Sweetwater roundups here in Texas. And they're kind of hard people to touch, hard people to pin stuff against because they are such big wigs in their area. They can be mayors, they can be chief of police. And we even have had friends of ours thrown out of these events just because they knew what we stand for. And so they'll say, nope, we know you're here to film and make these events look bad, get out of here. So yeah, these guys are very hard to pin anything against. Science and saving lives. You can see this gentleman right here, he's milking a Western diamondback rattlesnake for what he claims goes to venom research and anti-venom. We contacted anti-venom producers, and we only had one of them admit to purchasing anti-venom. That's not to say that other companies don't produce or don't purchase from them, but they do not admit to purchasing from them. No anti-venom producer wants to be associated with Rattlesnake Roundups, which that's a cause for concern right there. They don't want you to know that they're getting venom from a place that slaughters the snakes that are providing this valuable asset. And we'll go over why venom is so valuable in the future. The data, weight, length, and sex is also given to the appropriate wildlife department. Here in Texas, they do submit that data to Texas Parks and Wildlife, but the problem is they don't use anything with that data. They don't necessarily take into account the numbers that are taken from the wild and see if it's making a dent or an impact of the population within that area. And people are actually bitten at these roundups. So while they do claim that, yes, we're saving lives, we are also building up anti-venom supplies, they are being bitten at these roundups. And anyone who's been bitten or has studied bite cases, they can take anywhere from 10, 30 plus vials of anti-venom just to save your life from one diamondback bite. So while they are milking snakes for possible anti-venom, they are also using a ton of anti-venom at these events. Because at most events, people are bitten. It's not uncommon, and some people also have died, which kind of negates the whole saving lives thing. Then the next part is, let me give you these news sources. So these news sources are actually from the towns that these roundups occur in. You can see it's not just my word who's saying this. They openly admit that people are bitten regularly here. This guy right here was bitten 2 or 3 times, so it's nothing new to him. He gets bit at almost every event during these sacking contests. Stephanie Smith is just a spectator. She was allowed to walk into the pit and basically help them to count and move rattlesnakes. She was bitten 2 or 3 times at this roundup event. And this person right here, his name's Kite, he admitted that being bitten at a rattlesnake roundup is not uncommon. So like I said, it's not just us telling you, these people are admitting that bites do occur, they do require anti-venom, and some people have died at these roundups. But then you got to wonder, how dangerous are these snakes? Like, they're saying, oh, we need to kill them all because they're so dangerous. We can actually look at bite statistics. Let's not even focus on these other things, let's just keep it in the realm of animals. If you look at the United States fatality statistics every single year, roughly we average about 53 deaths to hornet, wasp, and bee stings. Dog attacks surprises a lot of people. We have about 21 deaths associated with dog attacks or bites from dogs. Spider bites clocks in at around 7, and then we have snake bites at 6. Now, of course, those 6 lives are terrible casualties. But the problem lies in the fact that if you actually research why or how those people were bitten, typically those people are bitten either trying to capture, kill, or playing with the snake. There are very few bites that happen whenever a person just stumbles up on a snake. Most people do not step on a snake. Most people do not reach and get bitten. The majority of bites are negated by people who are drinking and messing with snakes, or they're trying to capture or kill a snake. So those are usually the individuals who will succumb. They're usually a child or a very elderly person or someone with immunodeficiency disease. Those can be highly affected by snake venom. Most people will bounce back. They also strive and are prided by the fact that they say they educate people about rattlesnakes. I mean, what do you guys think that this little kid right here learns about rattlesnakes when he comes to this roundup? I mean, if you look at him, he's got this giant diamondback dead rattlesnake necklace that he's hanging on to. To me, that's basically telling this kid, hey, it's okay to kill these animals. It's okay to make a mockery out of them. It's okay to walk around with their dead head hanging from your neck. That's cool. So these people are educating young children on why it's important to kill these animals for no apparent reason, and to also instill a fear into them to make them want to kill them. They also teach you bite prevention and treatment and how to handle snakes. When you look at this gentleman right here, I mean, wouldn't you just want to learn how to handle snakes from him? Not really, you know. I don't know if any of you guys have ever come across a Western diamondback rattlesnake, but if you try this with a wild specimen, it's not really going to go over that well. This gentleman doesn't tell you how he's actually capable to do this. Most of the time these snakes are placed in some type of cooler or a freezer, and that slows them down. They're cold-blooded, and this inhibits their metabolic rate, their activity rate. So of course these snakes cannot come up, they do not come up and bite him. He has been bitten before, but usually that's a snake that's warmed up a little bit quicker than he gave it credit for. They also teach you how to identify snakes, but we actually have on film at roundups a gentleman holding up a copperhead and saying this is a cottonmouth. A gentleman holding up a cottonmouth and saying it's a copperhead. They're not exactly experts. Most of them are typically farmers or people who work in that local town. They haven't really studied snakes, they just have this precognition idea about snakes and what they are. So typically if it's a venomous snake on land, it's a copperhead. That's the way they think. The big underlying reason is money. If you look at some of their sponsors, they actually have Coca-Cola there, and Coca-Cola will sponsor these events as well. You also have Coors Light there, and they will sponsor these events too. Coca-Cola has actually been saying that they do not support the roundups, but they don't really control who buys their vendor signs. And they will actually have these things there, all of them saying that, oh yes, we support roundups. Even the local Walmarts will say, yes, we support roundups, put our signs there. What they don't realize that they're saying, though, is that they support animal cruelty. I'm about to show you some of the stuff that goes on at these events. The way they get away with this, though, is that a lot of this funding is used for local charities and for the town. So it does go to good causes. But the area that I had to take issue with is the fact that they can do this in a different way in which the rattlesnakes would not die, people would be educated in a correct way, and they could still make a ton of money off of it. I really don't understand why in the world they feel they need to eradicate the entire population. So now we're going to go into the life of a western diamondback rattlesnake. This is not just any western diamondback, this is the life of one of them who goes to a roundup. This poor rattlesnake right here is one of them from the Oklahoma roundups, in which he was put in a freezer. He then had his fangs ripped out, and then he had his mouth sewn shut. Then the individuals at the roundup who parade around with him around his neck, you get your picture taken with him. Then you get a little certificate that says you had your picture taken holding a dangerous western diamondback rattlesnake. It doesn't say the truth on there. You had your picture taken holding a half-dead or dead western diamondback rattlesnake. It says the dangerous western diamondback rattlesnake. So you can actually pay $5, $10 and get your picture taken with that guy. But the horror starts right from the actual capture. These rattlesnakes typically den together in what's called hibernaculum. They can be deep underground or deep inside of rock faces. And the way they get them out is they will gas them. They will stick a tube down the hole, pour gasoline down there. The fumes of the gasoline can't kill most things, so these snakes come running out. Sadly, though, the animals that also share these dens with them, like gopher tortoises or here in Texas, Texas tortoises, they are not really fast enough to make it out. Sadly, they do die. Both the Texas tortoise and the gopher tortoise are protected species. They're threatened in numbers, and we're trying to make them come back, but yet several of them are killed every single year due to people gassing for roundups. Also, another effective way they use is ammonia. Works pretty much the same way as gassing. And a new way I learned about is hooking. They take a long pole, line it with treble hooks, and then they stick it inside the hole and bash it side to side. Any rattlesnake that's in there will be hit with the treble hook, and then they yank them all out. The roundups will bite injured rattlesnakes, they just don't bite dead ones. So as long as it's not really injured too well, they will still buy the rattlesnakes. After they're captured, they're placed into boxes. Now these boxes, they will be placed in for an undetermined amount of time. This gentleman right here, his name is Wells, he has a crew of 8, and they call themselves the Cliff Seekers. They go and they capture rattlesnakes for the Sweetwater Roundup, and they admit to collecting snakes all the way beginning at the end of January. Some of them even earlier than that. The problem with that arises is that Sweetwater Roundup is not until March. So these guys are placed into these boxes or crates, no food, no water, and the weight of the other snakes sometimes even crushes the individuals on the bottom. So whenever they go to empty these guys into the pit, you'll see a bunch of live rattlesnakes come out, dehydrated, very malnutrition, and then you'll have dead ones there on top because they were initially down at the bottom and they were now crushed by its box mates. So that's definitely a terrible way to go, and that's also where I take issue with too, because they claim it's not animal cruelty because it's a wild animal. Well, I'm sorry, but you just took a wild animal and you've had him in your captive care for over a month now, and you refuse to give him food, water, shelter, the appropriate things that an animal needs. That, in my definition, is animal cruelty. After they go through their life in a box, they're placed in the pen, and that's where they start this series of several different events. They vary per different roundup, but generally, speaking of roundups in general, some snakes are frozen, and that's so that way they can manipulate them and use them easier. Snakes are defanged. Snakes, instead of moving them away with the hooks, they'll go through the pits and kick them over to the sides. Snakes are excessively pinned, and that's basically because the handlers are kind of scared of the snakes. Once again, they think they should all be killed, so that's generally driven by fear. So they will press really hard with the snake hook, which will break his skull and also rupture his venom gland. Then that snake has a really swollen head and dies a very slow death for the amount of time they're allowed once there. They also have their mouths sewn shut, of course, dehydrated, overheating. Once again, cold-blooded animals left out in the sun will overheat and die. Improper handling, beheading. Some of them have even been in the previous roundups burned with cigarettes and funneled alcohol into their mouths. And once again, it's bad to take someone on the word for it. Why not just watch it for yourself? So if you are sensitive to watching animals be killed, then this may bother you. But otherwise, I'll walk you guys through. So this is a young boy that they pulled through the crowd, and this young boy is going to help them slaughter this rattlesnake. But I mean, remember, they hate these animals. So why use a sharp machete? They would rather use a dull machete. So that way, it takes several whacks, several even sawing motions, and then they result to basically pulling its head apart. Once again, the rattlesnake is alive during all of this, and this occurs in Oklahoma. This is a rattlesnake that is being excessively pinned. This gentleman is putting way too much pressure on its head, and you can tell it's way too much pressure because the venom gland became ruptured. You guys are going to see after he picks it up, there's a pool of venom right there. That's due from the snake being forced to expel its venom because of where he's pinning it. And this is the snake's swollen head after he is done. Normally that snake's head would be roughly around that big around. Now it's about the size of a saw. This is a snake writhing in agony after his head has been chopped up, showing that due to their nervous system, they still feel after their head is chopped off. This feeling can last anywhere from 6 to 24 hours roughly. This is a snake with his mouth sewn shut. He is now dead, and instead of using them for food like they do the other ones, they just throw the dead ones with their mouth sewn shut away. This is one of them showing nervous system reactions. They still can't flick their tongue. He can bite after death. This is a famous thing in Sweetwater where you can pay money to bathe your hand in rattlesnake blood and post it on the wall. You can even sign your name in the blood on the wall. And that's kind of like a rite of passage saying that you're awesome enough to kill a rattlesnake. So what does this teach people? It teaches people that rattlesnakes should be feared, should be exterminated, and also teaches you that snakes have no feeling. We can chop their heads off like this and it does not matter. It does not bother them at all. It also teaches that animal cruelty is okay. I mean, just imagine if we rounded up any other animal in this world, rabbits, and tried to sew their mouth shut and let people take pictures with them. How long would that last? Not long at all. But since it's snakes, animal cruelty is okay to them. Snakes will bite you when given the chance is one thing that they teach as well. I'm here to tell you guys the truth. I have captured definitely my fair share of rattlesnakes, and I kind of took that as a challenge. What would happen if you guys, just as individuals, stumbled across a rattlesnake? And you guys get to see that in these upcoming videos. So, are rattlesnakes aggressive? We're going to talk about that. What happens when you stumble upon a perfectly wild, never seen a human, hopefully not before, and then are they beneficial? This is a western diamondback rattlesnake that I captured over in West Texas. I'm actually laying down on the ground filming him, and I'm roughly about yay far away from him. From y'all's guys' perspective, I mean, does he seem aggressive at all? No, I mean, not really at all to me. I mean, of course, my definition of aggressive is trying to attack me. In no way, shape, or form is this guy trying to attack me. He is simply defending himself, making sure that he is safe, but in no way, shape, or form is he coming at me. If I were to get bit by this guy, it would be completely my fault. But let's check out other wild rattlesnakes. So this is a rattlesnake over in Arizona, and this guy was just laying out in the road. So I thought it'd be interesting to film his initial reaction. What would he do if a human just walked right in front of him? What would he do if a human then turned around and walked back in front of him, and then repeated to do the process again? Would he attack and try to kill me? I don't know if you guys see that, but he is actually bolting. He's running. Snakes typically go through a few defensive strategies. The first one is flattening themselves out and trying to rely on their camouflage. They pray that you do not see them. Their next defense is running. And then the other observed defense is they will stand up and coil. But you will never see a coiled snake move towards you. He is either going to sit still or move backwards while staying coiled. A lot of people said this rattlesnake isn't that big. If you get a bigger rattlesnake, it will definitely bite you. So I said, okay, let me find out another one. This guy right here, he doesn't look like it because he's all coiled up. He was a 4-foot western diamondback rattlesnake. So I figured it'd be cool to check and see what he would do if I were to walk in front of him and do a little dance. Now, I am not the best dancer, so don't expect much out of this, but I mean, I do a little bit of a two-step right in front of him, do a little bit of foot, just letting him know, hey, I'm here, I see you, I'm walking around this guy. Right now, once again, he's relying on his camouflage defense. This guy does not see me. As long as I stay still, I'm safe. So I want him to know, hey man, I'm right in front of you. I could be a predator. I may get you. You should really defend yourself. So then I want to take it to a next level. He thinks that I don't see him. So what happens if I take my boot and I put it on his head? Or I take my boot and I lightly put pressure all across his body? What would he do then? Surely he would be that dangerous animal that the rounduppers claim he is. So you guys can see right here, touching his head with the boot. Let me get a little bit closer. Cover his whole body with the boot. Let him know, hey, I see you. I'm right here above you. Then I'm going to walk a little bit closer. Do a couple of taps on him. You should really defend yourself right now. And you can see, what is this western diamondback rattlesnake doing right now? He's hiding. The thing is that they do not want to bite unless absolutely necessary. I've not hurt this guy yet, so he's still trying to figure me out. Is this guy an actual predator? Is this guy trying to hurt me? And unless you infringe on them, you bother them, they're really not going to get after you. I mean, of course, rattlesnakes have different temperaments. You may come up on one who does not want to be messed with. But once again, you have to mess with him in order to get bit. I've had a lot of people say that that's just a diamondback rattlesnake. They're not even that venomous. What would happen if you did that to the most venomous rattlesnake in the world? So I said, okay, challenge accepted. Why don't I go to Arizona and I'm going to do the same trick to the tiger rattlesnake, give him the boot test. Now this guy's toxicity is actually 4 to 5 times more toxic than a Mojave rattlesnake. He is considered to be the most venomous rattlesnake or snake in the northern hemisphere. So let's do the boot trick to him. You can't have sound with this, so I'm just going to try to lip it for you. I'm sorry if my mouth doesn't move with him, but basically what I'm saying is this is the tiger rattlesnake, the most venomous rattlesnake in maybe even the world. What would happen if I were to stumble up on him like I was rock climbing? What would happen if I were to just walk up on him and put the boot right next to him? The horror. And so then I go by and I proceed to do just like you guys would. What if you were rock climbing and you were to step right next to this guy? What would happen? What would he do? And you can see exactly what he would do. What would happen if I dropped my keys back down the mountain? I need to make another trip down, then back up the mountain. You can see once again on this snake's mind, it is escape. His last ditch effort is going to be to bite you. And once again, you can see I'm asking for a bite in this instance, but he's still not willing to give it. Rattlesnakes are not the dangerous animals that these guys have you believe. So now we're going to talk about their benefits, what they do for us, why they are worth saving. You can go ahead and do the next one. Rodent control is one of their main things. Of course, they're ecologically necessary. How many of you guys have watched the news and seen the recent news articles on hantavirus? They've had a bad outbreak over in the Yosemite Park area. And a hantavirus is a virus carried by rodents, and all it takes is if they get inside of your house or your living quarters, if they poop or pee and that gets trapped into dust particles, that just gets circulated through your air conditioning vent, you breathe it in, you just now contracted hantavirus. Hantavirus kills roughly around 2/3 of the people it infects. We do not have a cure for it. It is a very horrible respiratory infectious way to go. And basically, we want to make sure that these rodents stay controlled, that hantavirus stays low in numbers with the rodents that it infects. Another way that they help to save our lives is this bubonic plague that you see. Of course, this wiped out 2/3 of the population over in Europe, roughly around 60% of the people. It's associated with, you see necrotic effects on the end of the extremities or the fingers, and then also you can have necrotic effects around your nose, and you will die a very painful death. Luckily, we do have cures for this, but I'd rather just keep it low in numbers, because it has flu-like symptoms, and typically by the time someone knows they had the bubonic plague, it's too late to save them. So if we can keep that in check, keeping those rodents in check by having these snake populations stay stable, that will stay kind of a thing of the past. Recently, with these roundups being more and more prevalent, we are seeing more cases of the hantavirus and the bubonic plague. Is that associated with rattlesnake numbers? I'm not going to tell you guys that because I can't prove it. I'm not going to tell you something that I cannot prove. But just do know that if rattlesnakes do go down in population, of course, rodent numbers will increase. So that is something we want to make sure stays in check. How many of you guys have lost a friend, relative, or family to cancer? Me too. I lost a good friend of mine just last year due to cancer. And we can actually look at our good friend here that they're slaughtering. Go down this list of the snake. Crotalus atrox, he has an enzyme called metalloproteinase. And this enzyme, what it does is it inhibits the growth of cancer cells from spreading to other organs. They're using venom from several different snakes in cancer research, and in the future, we may even have a cure for cancer. There's a particular toxin called myotoxin that actually hunts out and kills just cancer cells. So we're looking into how to use this. All of these medicines right here are currently being used. They have been FDA approved and are being used in pharmaceuticals and doctors' offices. There's also evidence for helping brain disorders like Alzheimer's, and we're currently using them in painkillers and blood thinners. If you do stay current in medicine, we've recently found a substitute for morphine in black mamba venom. It's non-addictive and it's even stronger than morphine itself. That's an awesome thing that we have for our future just in snake venom. So the question now is, what can you guys do to help us? The thing that you can do to help us is join our RARR Facebook page. If you did get a business card from me, it says Rise Against Rattlesnakes on the front of it. All you have to do is type that into your Facebook wall. It'll come up. Join our group. Help to share our videos. We make videos like the one I just showed you guys. Send them to people. Put them on your website. Email them. Raise awareness. Because the thing is if we want these events to change or to stop, we have to have people power. Because there are some powerful individuals in this basically just turning a deaf ear. They don't want to do anything. We have contacted the governor, the mayor, we've contacted several people, and they just say there's nothing I can do. And that's basically, we all know it, it's baloney, okay? They could have the power to enforce these laws that we have set in the state of Texas, animal cruelty, bag limits, same thing in Oklahoma, animal cruelty, things like that. We can have them enforce these laws because we have it on film, people breaking these laws. You guys can also write letters, email, make phone calls to the individuals. You can get their names and their numbers from our Facebook page. And of course, like I said, building exposure, you guys can buy a Stop Rattlesnake t-shirt. The RARR group sells these t-shirts. They're right over there. And Mr. Kenneth right here is wearing one. On the back it says, "Education, not eradication." It's got a beautiful picture of a diamondback. On the front it says, "Stop Rattlesnake Roundups." And it's a great conversation starter. My wife has worn one in the grocery store, and people will come up to her and say, "Why would you want to save a rattlesnake?" And then you can lay it on. You can tell them why they're worth saving, tell them where they need to go to educate themselves on why they're worth saving, and once again, great way to start conversation. Partial proceeds do go to the RARR group as well, and that helps us to basically afford to go to these events, get more footage of them doing the illegal activities to really expose them for what they truly are. Are there any questions about these events? No one has any questions? I really appreciate you guys listening. Please do all you can to help out this cause. Because I don't know if y'all notice or if y'all are the same way. Rattlesnakes, just snakes in general, are extremely dear to my heart. And it would really upset me if my future children could not experience them to the same level I have just due to people over-hunting them, over-exploiting them, and for, as y'all have seen, no real apparent reason besides just hearsay. So if you guys have nothing else to say or no questions, then thank you for coming to the presentation. Okay, please check out that RARR table.